Guys, it's Amy with Stampin' with a Heart. I'm going to show you a quick little simple, fabulous embossing technique that Sandy and I were playing with. I've done it several different ways and different times with just using solid colors, but this time I actually stamped behind the Woodland Embossing Folder and then I colored on top of it. So I'm going to show you how to do this card, and it's fabulous. Unfortunately, the leaves that are behind the Woodland Embossing Folder are retired. It is with the sheltering tree, so if you have it, you can use that. But there's also a couple other stamps that we have out. One is called Beautiful Friendship, and it will give you a very similar look. On the blog that will be attached to this, it will show you how that one would look. Alright, let's get to it. Guys, alright, this again is the card we're going to do. It is with the Woodland Embossing Folder, which is this one. This one is extremely loved. It's actually got some ink on it that I'm going to need to go clean out because apparently I didn't clean it. But anyway, we're going to use this one, and we're going to use the sheltering tree. This one is retired, and this one I do believe it is not orderable at the moment. It's a very sad but true thing. It is coming back once the manufacturer that they have now with Stampin' Up! Will be back into service. We're just waiting on that to come out. I don't know how soon that'll be, but I'm looking forward to it. Since I just found this technique, I can't wait for you guys to be able to do it. So if you have it, awesome. Give me 2 seconds to go rinse this off. Alright, I've got it all rinsed off because, you know, we need this. Most importantly, this is the first thing we're going to use in this particular card. And we got to have it clean and dry so nothing runs. And my mistake for not making sure it was clean before I got started. Living in a tiny house makes everything interesting. So, you know, we'll get there. Alright, we've got it all nice and clean. And I'm going to move this over so you guys can see it here. Oh, and these are my new foam folders I got from one of the North Carolina demos, and then I had Stampin' with a Heart put on there. So, I love those. Anyway, you're going to start with this one. We're going to use the flat edge here so that our branches will pop out. This is the side that's going to pop out and push your paper this way. So you're going to stamp on this side right here, and it's going to be the side that has the 6/6 on it. Or Stampin' Up, it'll have your symbol written on there on that side. So that's the side we're going to stamp on. I've already got my big leaves put on my block, and we're going to use several different colors here. I'm going to use Crushed Curry, Cherry Cobbler, and Cajun Craze. And I did bring in some Mossy Meadow just for giggles, just in case we decide we like that. But I'm going to put some of these on the side. Now you start from lightest and you go to darkest. So this is my darkest. This will be the last thing I do. So I'll go here, I'll go Crushed Curry, Cajun Craze, Mossy Meadow, and then Cherry Cobbler. I didn't use green in my original one, but we're going to try it this way. And if you go from your lightest to your darkest, you won't have to worry about your inks smudging all over your pad and having it messed up. So I'm going to put my Crushed Curry down. And I'm just literally going to stamp onto my embossing folder. And I'm kind of keeping this a little high so that my leaves, just imagine this is leaves that you're looking at in the forest. And we're going to go with some Cajun Craze, and I can go right into it with this, and just imagine we're putting some more leaves, some other color in there. And you don't have to do a lot of it. You can do as very little or as much as you'd like. And I'm going to do very little of this green because, you know, it is fall, so I'm just going to kind of put it on the edges. And put some green at the top, and I'm going to fold this out so I can get all the way and put a little of it down here at the bottom. So we've got just a little bit of green showing up, maybe a little over here. Alright, take that, and then we're going to do our last color, which is Cherry Cobbler. And I'm just going to cover my whole thing up. And again, I don't really want to put a lot of red in here, so I'm just going to go kind of where I put that cherry cob or the crushed curry and the Cajun craze, just so some of them kind of mingle. There we go. That should be good. I don't want a lot because I don't want to take away from that crushed curry. I really like the crushed curry at wintertime. It's that golden glow of those leaves. And being here in the tiny house and watching fall has become a fabulous thing for us. We get to see all those new things. And the leaves are just phenomenal right now. Okay, now we've got our ink pad stamped, and if you want to see how it looks, see how that looks there, you can see it with that behind it. So now I'm going to take my white, I'm going to place it in, and my white is measured 4, let's see, here's my one, 4 by 5 1/4, and I kind of want to go to the top, and go like that. And then I'm just going to lay this down on top, just like that. Okay, I found my acrylic plate. So you're going to put them both together like this. So you've got this here. And you put this on top. And you're just going to run them through your Big Shot. Now, if you have a brayer, you can run your brayer back over after you come out just to make sure all of your ink gets set the way you want it. Alright, and I'm going to take this and I'm just going to rub it just to make sure I get all of those pretty colors on my trees. And I know you're looking at my card going, wait, her trees are brown. How did she do that? I'm going to show you just a second. So, there's the card. It doesn't have a lot of color in this spot, but notice there's no color in the ink stamp there. You could always go back and add color if you wanted to. That's up to you. I'm going to leave it just like this so it's a little simple. It's not so crazy. You could add some birds or some animals to that. You could really put and stamp whatever you want on there. Alright, now that we've got this down, I'm going to take Early Espresso. This one's done in soft suede, but I decided to go and try the Early Espresso to see what it looked like. So I'm literally just going to take my Early Espresso and lightly run across those branches. Just lightly. Just like this. And see how it just gives it streaks of those colors? And you may get a streak there, but just be really light, and it's not going to hurt it if you do. You can always take and run it back through your embossing folder with some more color to kind of get rid of that if you wanted to. But that's the front of it. So I'm literally going to take and figure out what color I want behind it, whether I want the yellow or to make that red pop. I think I like the red on this one today. So I'm going to cut some red to be 4. Let's see, this is 4 1/4 or 4 by 5 1/4. So I'm actually going to trim this up a little bit. I'm going to make it 3 3/4 by 5 so that it'll fit and be nice and even and have that great trim around it. Alright, so now I've changed this to 3 1/4 this way by 5 this way, and I'm going to trim this to 4 by 5 1/4. Alright, and we can slide that right underneath there. And then I have Early Espresso cut at 4 1/4 by, let's see, it's 4 1/4 by 8, I believe. Anyway, it's scored in half at 5 1/2, 5 1/2. And we're just going to layer it just like this. And then my sentiment, I'm going to do exactly how I did on this one. And I've already cut those pieces out. It is, let's see, this is 3 1/4 by, I think it's it'll be cut down to 3 1/4 to match my white. And then I punched these out of our little decorative ribbon punch, and I made these. So I'm literally going to stamp my sentiment. I'm going to actually cut this first. So I want this to be 3 1/4 to just cut across there. So I'm going to cut that. Alright, and I'm going to stamp my sentiments, and I am going to probably use thankful for you, and I'm going to use it out of the same stamp set since I've got it out, and I do need to send out a thank you card to one of my wonderful customers. You can never thank them enough. And I am going to put this in Cherry Cobbler, I think. Yeah, that ought to be the ticket. Bring in some of that Cherry Cobbler. Oops, I got a lot of ink on there. Let's see if I can. And this foam board is wonderful for stamping, because then you have all of that foam on there, and it's wonderful. You don't have to worry about pressing. It's kind of like with the Stamparatus. Oh, that's awful. Let's flip that over. Clean that off. That was horrible. I don't usually stamp that bad. I'm usually slow and steady. And that did not look steady and slow. Alright, still got a little on the trim. Okay. Let's go at this again. And you just hold it slow and steady for a second. Much better. There we go. So thankful for you, and then I'm going to flip it over and run some glue on the edges of this so I can put these down. I just use a little tape runner. You can use regular glue if you want. Either one would work well. I'm just running short on glue and need to order some. So we've got that all there, and you won't even notice this glue here because these are going to cover it. And you're literally going to just put this on here. I do need to trim it, but I'll trim it in a second with scissors. So I'm just going to put this down so it hangs on. Try to get it as even as you can, and pardon me if you hear the kitties in the background. They're having some sort of squabble up in the loft. That's normal around here. Alright, now let me grab my scissors. I have so many little spaces for things to hang out. And then I'm just going to trim these off a little bit. So it'll be nice and even. There we go. And now we can just layer these all together. And I like this card. I love the background so much that I really didn't want to add a whole bunch. Now when Sandy did hers, which you'll see her picture of hers in the blog post, she added Rooted in Nature, and she put this beautiful cypress tree or birch tree on her card, and it was beautiful. I like the simplicity, and I love just the way this looks. And I didn't really want to hide it. Okay. Make sure I'm putting this on right. And you can decide if your leaves go up or down, or if your stems are going up or down. It doesn't really matter. It's kind of however you want, and you know, nature's just crazy. She does whatever she wants. So your leaves could, mine are going to go up. I like the up better, so I'm just going to stick these down here. And some copper would look nice in this too. I might get some dimensionals for this. I always have dimensionals sitting up. I've got some little ones right now. So that's the front of it. And yes, I still have glue in the back, so that'll help keep it down. There we go. Alright, just take these off. Thank goodness for long fingernails. I'll tell you what though, in the tiny house, going back to us being in the tiny house, we learned the other day, Gumbo, our big dog, he's 70 pounds, he got sick. And we didn't really know he had gotten sick, but he had puked sometime in the middle of the night. He's one of those stealthy, quiet pukers. And he puked, and it just smelled awful. And when you're in it for a while, you don't really notice it. But when you walk away, oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, it was stealthy and awful. And when we walked away and we finally figured it out, it was gross. Just gross. Those smells are totally, they're just awful. And they're so pronounced in such a small space. Alright, I put that on top, and there's the card. That was it. It was super simple. Looks stunning. You could add, let's see, there's the Nature's Beauty, which is where we're donating some money with Stampin' Up. You could put that little critter in there. You could have a deer, a bunny, whatever you want. You could have him hanging out in there too. Fabulous, fabulous embossing folder. I love all of the versatility of it. I really hope they don't get rid of it, but you'll see if you check my blog and you search for the Woodland Embossing Folder, you will see many, many different ways of using that folder. My hostess code for November is HYCX7MT9. It will be on the blog as well. Sorry, this is handwritten again. My markers are going out, and my printer again is still at the big house. So I hope you have a wonderful day, and we will see you next time. Thank you for stopping by.